Yo, welcome to the show where the energy's flown. It's your boy dropping heat. This is the Ozone. Step into the arena where legends are made. From the courts to the fields, watch the highlights played. Football, hoops, baseball, it's all fair game. If it's sports, we bring the fire, put respect on the name. Stats and debates, we break it all down. From the rookies to the GOATs who wear the crown. No halftime, all grind, we're setting the tone. It's prime time, baby, you're in the Ozone. Yo, it's passion, precision, the plays we dissect. From the underdogs, grinding to the Hall of Fame vets. This is more than a podcast, it's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right, welcome to the Ozone.
You have entered the Ozone with Omar and Dave.
Let's go! We are here and you guys have officially tapped in to the Ozone. It's your boy Omar here having a phenomenal week as I always am. And I'm also here, with super producer Dave himself. Brother, it is a new week. How are we feeling?
Feeling good. At the time of recording, I don't know. It's been a good day. It's just got some bad news, so we're gonna get into that. And I think as good of a week we had, we do got to get into some topics that are pretty upsetting for our fan base.
Yeah, we got a jam-packed show today. But before we get into the bad news, the good news is it's happy hour. So if you're watching this at our new start time at 5 p.m., it's happy hour. You just had a tough Monday at work. Hopefully you didn't. But now it's time to relax, pop a cold one. Shout out to all the working men and women and enjoy the show. But as Dave said, we got to start off with a little bad news. So let's get into it on the Pinstripes Report.
The Pinstripe Report.
All right, y'all. So the Pinstripes Reports, as we touched on a few weeks ago, it's our segment where we're going to be covering the Yankees this season. Unfortunately, we've been having to introduce it a little early because we got some bad news on the Yankee front. As this week, we learned that Gerrit Cole will be out for the entire 2025 season due to Tommy John surgery. This is a tough one, brother. This is the Yankees ace. This is the guy, this is your horse. This is the guy that you give the ball to when you need a dominant win, or, during the season, let's say you have a little streak of games where, maybe your pitching's not performing well, and you give the ball to your ace. And Gerrit Cole, before even, maybe last year he was hurt, but before that was a guy that you can always give the ball to every 5 days. This is a huge hit for the Yankees, brother. Huge.
Yeah, going into this season, we already had the expectation it was going to be Cole and then Max Fried, that nice 1-2 punch to start off, the series, or at least a year. And then of course the rotation adjust and everything like that. But the expectation is that Cole was there. I had him recently in my top 5 of New York current athletes, and I still thought that until he got hurt. Of course, this list changes if we're going to evaluate it later on this year, but Cole being down does affect us a lot. And then as we go into this, we're heading into the opening day. So far, we've noticed that Rodon is getting the nod for opening day start. So that does change everything. They still have the idea to have Max Fried, pitch the second game. We'll see how everything ends up playing out, but this does not bode well as far as if your pitching has been something to be concerned about this year with the Yankees. Definitely something we're going to keep an eye on, as we go.
Yeah, as we touched on in previous episodes, this was going to be the strong suit for the Yankees, almost at a point where, Marcus Stroman, hey, we got to get rid of him. We got to find a way to get rid of him. And then Luis Hill goes down, and now you get Gerrit Cole, and now we're lucky that we didn't trade Marcus Stroman. You look at what's the possible options. As you touched on, brother, Carlos Rodon's going to be there. Max Fried's going to be there. Let's knock on wood. And then you have, I believe, question marks after that. And I know Yankee fans are going to go, hey, but we got Clark Schmidt. But Clark Schmidt had a little bit of a setback during the spring. It looks like he looks like he's going to be able to still pitch the scheduled start that he was going to in the season. But he's only had one start this spring. One in the third innings. He gave up 4 hits, 3 earned runs and a home run in that one start. You don't want to get too wonky about spring training, but all right. So let's just Clark Schmidt, right? So you have Rodon, Fried, and Schmidt. Now you have two rotation spots that you got to fill, and you have Marcus Stroman, and you have two guys that are wild cards. You have Carlos Carrasco, who a veteran pitcher. He played for the Mets last year. He was decent, nothing extravagant, but he's had a very good spring training for the most part. And then you have Will Warren, who Will Warren was a top Yankee prospect. He had a cup of coffee with the team last year. Looks very good this spring. Brother, do you want, like I said, we know we're rolling with Fried, Rodon, Schmidt. I didn't say it in any particular order, but those are the three guys.
Mhm.
Between Stroman, Will Warren, and Carrasco, who do you want? You feel like, or do you feel comfortable? Not who do you want, because obviously we know who we want. We would want Gerrit Cole. We want our guys back. But who do you feel confident with filling out the rest of the rotation?
If you're asking me, let's give the nod to Will Warren. But here's why I mentioned this. We're gonna have to do some experimentation here. We're gonna have to, like, my thing is, we don't want to go into this and just be like, well, this isn't working. Let's keep throwing that guy out there. That's not how baseball works. That's not how sports work. You're gonna want to see what you got in your guys. And right now we do have that question mark of where's our team? Who is it? What's our rotation gonna look like? So I say give the nod to Will Warren. Doesn't work? Fine. You find another way to implement him into this team, but you experiment. We don't know anything right now. So for all we know, he's our guy. Maybe he's not. We'll go the other way if we have to. I just think experiment. I'm okay with us experimenting. Is 162 baseball games. You telling me you can't experiment?
Yeah, I'm with it. I'm with it. Like this was a guy that the Yankees covered it, meaning Will Warren. He's a, like I said, uh, prospect for the Yankees. Look, his spring training numbers are, hey man, I think they're pretty good for the most part. You look at it, he's had he's played 4 games, 3 starts, over 11 innings. He's given up 4 hits, 3 runs, 12 strikeouts, 1 home run, 3 walks. Right now, the Yankees are in a position where you almost have nothing to lose in the sense, right? Because you throw in Will Warren, see what he got. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, is Marcus Stroman going to be any better? Is Carlos Carrasco going to be any better? Like, I think you almost hope that if you do strike gold with Stroman or Carrasco, either one, because those are the two that I will toggle with as far as the fifth spot. I want Will Warren there. So I agree with you. I want Will Warren there. If those guys could just give you a good, decent 2.5 months, and then we get Luis Hill back, I feel a little bit better. Um, but I think Fried is going to be fine. I'm not sweating that. Clark Schmidt. Clark Schmidt was good for us last year, so I have no reason to be worried about Clark Schmidt. Carlos Rodon is. I need him to elevate his game, and we're gonna talk a lot in more detail next week, guys, as we preview the Yankees and Mets season. But I'm gonna need Rodon to really become that pitcher he was in San Francisco, and why Cashman gave him that deal. Because his numbers last year was fine, but we had Gerrit Cole. We had Luis Hill, who won Rookie of the Year. Now you're gonna be with Fried to carry us. You have to set the tone in the top of the rotation. So hopefully, it's a big situation right now. The rotation is looking a little shaky for the Yankees. But we got to talk about our other team as well, brother. We got to talk about the team across town. That's the New York Mets. We haven't introduced the Mets segment. We have Met fans. We have a segment for Mets. We are a New York podcast. We talk all things New York. Yes, Dave and I are Yankee fans. Yes, Dave is a certified Mets hater. I am not. I am not. I just find the Mets are just the Mets. I have beef with Met fans when we play against each other. Other than that, I wish nothing but success for them. Their success has no reflection to the Yankees, has no effect. So that's my reasoning. A lot, I'll wear a Met hat. I don't care. It's the Knicks colors, but whatever, whatever. But we do have a Met segment, and let's get into it. This Met segment is, we keeping all this, brother, because I'm rambling. The Met segment here is called the Amazing Rundown.
The amazing rundown.
It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. All right, baby. Let's go. Get a home run, baby. Love the Mets. Let's go, Mets.
All right, y'all. So the amazing rundown. Like I said, this is a segment where we cover all things Mets. Brother, we talked about the Yankees. You had mentioned that Carlos Rodon is getting the ball open today for the Yankees. And a familiar face will be getting the ball for the New York Mets as they open their season. That man is Clay Holmes, brother. Clay Holmes. Look, before I get your take on Clay Holmes becoming the opening day starter for the New York Mets, let me just show some love to our former closer that would give us some cardiac, too many cardiac heart attack affairs. Let's just put it like this, man. Clay Holmes' spring training numbers so far. He has pitched 14 innings, 15 strikeouts. He's started 4 games in those 14 and a 1.29 ERA. So far this early spring, you don't want to get too caught up in spring numbers, but man, those are numbers that you just can't gloss over either. He's had an amazing start to the spring.
Yeah, he has, and congrats to him. You earned it. As apparently Steve, I'm sorry, Mendoza had mentioned, the manager there. Um, so go ahead and show us what you got. It's been some time since you've actually started a game. So we want to see what you got. And I have been like my whole life. I've been notoriously rooting against the Mets, and it's only just because the people around. My grandfather's a Mets fan. I love my grandfather, but I'm just rooting against his team. My cousin, Chop, you're a Mets fan, and then also Wells
Chop's a
as
big
well. Like
Met fan.
it's just funny that I like to make fun of the choking moments,
Wagyu
but
Wagyu could get a little arrogant at times, but he's
yes,
more calm. If
he's
all
more
Met
calm.
fans was like our boy Wagyu,
I think
we'd
it
be
comes with the
okay.
Grays. The Grays also have calmed him down. So, um, I am turning a new leaf going into the season with the
Hold on,
Mets.
bro.
I
Sorry to cut you off. Shout out to Mr. Leon. Leon, we're not turning cold, but go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
No, no, and I'm not turning over and I'm saying I'm officially a Mets fan from here on out. No, I am turning a new leaf and I will be rooting for the Mets. It's part of our job. We're going to be covering them. I'm not going to be LeBron. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be Stephen A or Skip Bayless covering something I hate. So I'm going to be covering the Mets with full intent to be rooting for you guys and just giving you what I feel about them. So back to Clay Holmes. I'm looking forward to see what they get out of him. With giving him the nod. Like I said, it's been several years since he has started a game, and we're gonna see what the Mets end up getting from him. So we'll see.
Yeah, and the Mets, similar to the Yankees, have had some injuries to their team. Obviously, the news of Francisco Alvarez that he's going to be missing about 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured left hand. We already know the situation. They've also had issues with Sean Manaea, who he's going to be out, and that was a big pitcher that performed very well for them last year. His numbers, he was 12-6, 3.47 ERA. He made all 32 starts. So, and he's going to be missing some time in the beginning of the season. So, they're really relying on Clay Holmes. They're really relying on Clay Holmes, a full year of Kodai Senga. And like I said, Frankie Montas is already out. And also now, the big thing that was recent is Jeff McNeil. Strained oblique, he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks. So this creates opportunity, brother. When an injury occurs, this creates opportunity that leaves second base open now for Luis Angel Acuna. That's the younger brother of Ronald Acuna and Brett Beatty. And Brett Beatty is an interesting character for the Mets. Obviously a highly touted prospect for them. Didn't pan out as well. But then you see the success of Mark Vientos. You look how Mark Vientos came in big, had a big playoffs, and Met fans were definitely expecting that from Brett Beatty. Just haven't. But Acuna's got it. Acuna might be a little bit more raw as far as talent. I feel like Acuna has the more better potential. But right now, like, who are you starting at second base? Who would you want to see? Do you want to see Beatty? Do you want to see Acuna? Are you even familiar, brother? 'Cause we got to be real with this too.
No, I'm gonna be real, and I'm
You
not gonna
know,
fake the funk. I'm not gonna say like if I know the whole rundown. I'd like to say
right,
like the
right.
same thing with the Yankees. I'd like to see experimentation there. So like give these guys shots. Like you are dinged up right now going into the season, and nobody ever wants to be put in that position. To start the season. So I say when it comes to this, just experiment. See what works for you guys. At the end of
Yeah,
the day, this is things that help you along during the season. There's gonna be other injuries that happen, unfortunately. So you want to know that these guys can step up when they do have to.
yeah. And this is a different situation because as we touched on with the Yankees, is like those three spots in a rotation. You're like, all right, give one to the two spots, give one to Will Warren. That's obvious, given the young guy, and then let the old guys figure that out. This situation with the Mets, you got two young guys. You got Brett
Try it.
Beatty, you got Acuna. Uh, I would lean more towards Beatty. Don't give up on him yet. Let's see how he does. See how he does. So then at least when you see that, you give him another opportunity, and you go, okay, at least you feel more comfortable if you at least you've given him a shot. Okay, and he's failed, and now let's see if we can part ways with him. uh let's look at their spring training numbers. Brett Beatty's having a phenomenal spring so far. He's had 32 at bats, 12 hits in those 32 at bats, so that's a 375 batting average. um his OPS 1.100, on base percentage of 444, two home runs, five RBIs. Look, man, if you're gonna go with the numbers, if Mendoza's gonna go with the numbers, you gotta go Beatty. Acuna's got the same amount at bats, maybe two. He just has two less, 30 at bats, seven hits, 233 batting average, two assists. He got the three stolen bases, but in the spring when players are playing for position, that's when you have to go to the stats. Guys like Aaron Judge, guys like Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor, you don't get too high, you don't get too low on their numbers. I do want to shout out Juan Soto. I do, and I put it on our notes. I do want to shout out Juan Soto. He's off to a hot start. 4 home runs, 8 RBIs. He's with a 417 batting average and only 24 at bats. So I want to show love to that. But you never get too high and lows in spring with your main guys. But when you got guys fighting for positions, fighting for a playoff roster spot, you got to go with who got the better numbers. I'm sorry. And Brett Beatty's that guy. Um, I'm going to spring training as of this recording. We're recording on Saturday night. I will be at the Met spring training facility on Sunday. So I will, I want to hear from Met fans. I want to see who they want starting at third base and see how they feel about their season overall. But I want Brett Beatty there. So let's see. Like I said, we're gonna get into details, covering the storylines and goals and predictions that we have for the Yankees and Mets next week. So because that's preseason stuff. Their season is starting soon. We gotta talk about our other boys. It has been an eventful week with our New York Knickerbockers. Let's get into it, baby, on This Week in Knicks.
This week in Knicks.
All right, y'all. So this week in Knicks, brother, man, you all been rolling right now. The Knicks this past week got 2 wins against the Sacramento Kings, 133-104, followed by an overtime thriller against the Portland Trail Blazers, where one Mikal Bridges hits a game-winning buzzer beater three for a 114-113 win over the Portland Trail Blazers. Brother, let's talk about that game. We don't even talk about the Kings. That was a bum night. We smoked them. Um,
Happy
but the
birthday to you
Portland
because
game,
they won on
happy
your
birthday. That was a
birthday.
big birthday win. That was a big birthday win, although I did pick the Knicks to lose that game. But we're not going to get into that. I didn't know Sabonis was going to be out. Didn't matter anyway. I don't care. We got the dub. Like I said, I would never be upset about getting wrong a game that I predicted a loss and we got to win. I would never be tight about that. But what do you want to, bro? We got to, what do you want to discuss? Do you want to discuss this Portland Trailblazers game, which was off the chain, or you want to discuss what happened before this Portland
I think
Trailblazer
I,
game?
I think I think we cover what happened before because it makes what happened as a
Oh,
result after that make it much more better. So let's go over this.
let's
Mikal
go over it.
Bridges had a few words for the media about his coach and his minutes. And Thibodeau is not known to talk negative about his players, and that's something that, like, you respect in your coach. You never want to see him do that. Um, Thibodeau goes and counters it and says, "We never had this discussion." So, Omar, please set the scene for us. What is going on in like Knicks Nation right now?
Um, well, first of all, I think there was some that were a little too carried away talking about Mikal Bridges is soft. Oh, I never want a player that's gonna complain about not playing too much. Then you got the minute police Knick fans that are like, hurrah, getting behind Mikal Bridges. Like, yeah, man, speak Tom plays them too hard. He play blah, blah, blah. I have no problem with anything that was done. I have no problem with Mikal Bridges going and feeling that way. Maybe he had it or he did not have the conversation with Tom Thibodeau. Look, we voice our opinions. In our jobs, we voice our opinions. If we feel like we're being overworked or not receiving any opportunities in our workplace, we go and we speak to our boss. It doesn't mean that we're unhappy. It doesn't mean that we want to quit. It doesn't mean that we want a new job. The only problem I have is that Mikal went out. He went to the media, and that's only because it just created an unnecessary distraction. It added more fuel to the mass media agenda of pointing out that Tibbs hurts his players. Mind you, no one is giving Jason Kidd any rife about his players going down. You don't hear any minutes thing there. The Knicks have been the healthiest team in the league. You can check that out right now. Um, so I'm just upset with Mikal. I'm not upset, like I said, about Mikal having what he wants. Maybe, some people's like, oh, it's more of him vouching for the bench guys to get more minutes. But my counter to Mikal would be this: you want campaign playing 25 minutes? You want Landry Shamet playing 25 minutes? That question could go to Knick fans in the minute police. You want Precious Achua playing 25, 30 minutes? You tell me. You tell me. Now, do I think Tibbs could, drop a couple minutes off? Maybe try to keep the guys at 34, 33? Yeah, I can see that. But I can't front. I've also looked at games where Tibbs have had Campaign on the floor, Landry Shamet on the floor, Precious Achua on the floor, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And you've mentioned it. Tibbs said that they didn't have this conversation. But Mike Breen did say during the telecast of the Portland Trailblazers game with the Knicks that Bridges and Tibbs did talk before the game, that Mikal loves playing for Tibbs. Tibbs loves coaching Mikal and what he brings. And sometimes dialogue and getting communication going actually is a good thing. I think I'm not overblown. I don't think Mikel's going to want to leave the team. I don't think, you got stupid screaming A. Smith talking about Tom Thibodeau's going to get fired because, Mikel Bridges is the Iron Man. If he's complaining, that's what I'm a little upset with Mikel, is that now we got to hear this junk. Obviously, as we're recording, the Warriors are playing the Knicks tonight, and they're going to be talking about that throughout the whole entire game. And right now it's just, that's just how I feel. I'm just mad Mikal just brought it to the media as opposed to it being an in-house thing. I don't really think it's anything important, brother. I really don't.
No, and I agree. I think when it comes to my teams, I am very supportive of what's known as the Patriot Way, and what that means is everything stays in home. No, nothing goes out to the media. You guys talk to us, and that's it. We're not going to give any source material for anybody, whether it's the opposing team or the media. And I like how the Knicks organization has been run up until this point. The Knicks organization with the Leon Rose era, we keep on mentioning it. This is something that doesn't happen with this Knicks team. Like, you might have other people talking about it, like you said, the Minutes Police,
Brother, that's
media
real
talking about
Brooklyn
it.
Nets behavior. Mikal, you could get away with this in Brooklyn because they got like two reporters and nobody's reading nothing. You
Right.
play for the real New York basketball team now. You know what I'm
So,
saying? Like, he could have
so
got
this is
away. Stuff like this would have went under the, you know what I mean, under the radar. You playing for the Brooklyn Nets, brother. You on the New York Knicks, and you are absolutely right. And I was going to mention that point, and I forgot about that, brother. You're right, Leon. This is not something that you normally hear from the. Look at right now. I bet there's a lot of people that didn't know that Obi Toppin and Tom Thibodeau almost swung on each other in the Miami Heat series. That didn't get brought up till about a year later. That's how close and tight knit this Knick organization is with letting news out. You hear it all the time. You see how Shams and all these guys be reporting trades, and then bam, Karl Anthony Towns gets traded, and nobody reported that. So the Knicks move. The Knicks, like Lil Wayne said, real G's move silent like lasagna. That's how the Knicks move. And you are so right that this is throw a little rap, throw a little bar. But it's exactly you nailed it, brother. You nailed it. That this has not been Knick behavior since Leon Rose taken over.
Right. So this is the thing that, it's fine. We won, but this is not something that's gonna go away now. You know, we're gonna talk about the game in just a sec, but the fact is that this is the little bit of nuggets that the media will take and they will run that. They will make this into a story for the rest of this going into the playoffs. So my hope is that like at least the Knicks keep on winning games because that narrative goes out the window. The second you start to lose games, especially in the playoffs, this is where it comes up. This is where it becomes, well, maybe he is overplaying them, and maybe he is. And I've been on record saying that maybe they should rest them, or give your guys that are younger more time on the on the court, just because we're going into the end of the season. Like, and you and me have said this. You have nothing to lose once you start playing those guys as we get closer to the game in the playoffs. We'll shorten down the
The
roster as you've
rotation.
mentioned before, the rotation.
Showing the
So
rotation.
right, speaking of rotations, people might forfeit games because they don't have enough players. But
Let's
the
blame
point
Thibodeau
is,
for that too.
let's go ahead. But we just want to see those players who haven't had that much of experience on the court in the NBA to get that chance, just to show us what they got, because we may rely on them should the playoffs come. So, Bikel, be more careful with your words. Um, And that's it. That's all I have to say, because you did your job when it came to it. And the Knicks won a game against the Portland Trailblazers in overtime.
I'm sorry. I gotta go off the script right now. Dave doesn't even know this. So, guys, Dave and I, we have multiple screens that we use to grab our notes and our stats. So I'm on Twitter. This is where I bookmark a lot of things that we're going to talk about. So what's trending right now is RIP Slick. So I clicked on it, and I'm like, I thought it was Slick Rick. So there's a tweet. So apparently who died was Seattle Supersonics legend Donald Slick Watts. And the first tweet when you click on RIP Slick is a video of Slick Rick, a gif of Slick Rick, the rapper. And it's like, yo, saw RIP Slick trending and thought it was Slick Rick. And I laugh because that's what I initially thought. I'm like, wow, Slick Rick just died. And what? Like, but I guess
Gotta be
move
careful with them
forward.
words.
Yeah, R.I.P. Supersonics legend Donald Slick Watts. So R.I.P. to him. But yeah, brother, like, but as you touched on, that news, you get that news, and then you get the game later on that night. Mikal Bridges. First of all, that was a tough game. And I mentioned it last week in our prediction. Chauncey Billups got those boys in Portland playing some real gritty, tough basketball. I really like their roster. I like Sharp. Um, this kid from Washington, man, he's leveled up, bro. Avia, bro, he's leveled up, man. Shout outs to him, man. He was giving us some work. Pause. And this kid, man. Man, I gotta get his last name. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it over to you, brother. And I'm gonna look for his name. But he was great defensively. He ended up falling out. But I like this Portland game. But Mikal Bridges did what I've been wanting Mikal Bridges to do for a long time, and that's be aggressive, man. And now, maybe the Brunson thing was a blessing in disguise, because you see how Thibodeau has now drawn plays focused on Mikal and getting him to his spots. And Mikal got big shots when they counted. I think Mikal finished with 33 points, if I'm not mistaken. around that. And then obviously the game winning 3.0.
Yeah, 33 points he ended up with. OG with 23. And then, Scoot Henderson, he's a great player over there. He had ended up with 30, Avija, 27. It was a good game. Karl Anthony Towns, he shot 8 for 12, scoring 21 points that game as well. The game, this is where the minutes police will shut the hell up.
Brother
Because,
Tamani Kamara,
there we go.
man, yo, man, he's gonna be a top 5 defensive player in a couple years. Go ahead.
But this is where the minutes police ends up shutting up. Because sure, you want to talk about how you don't want your players playing this many minutes, but guess what? You need that, especially going into the playoffs. I feel confident in Mikal starting in an overtime game in the playoffs going forward because of what he just shown us. And hopefully by that time, we may not need him to do all that because Jalen Brunson will also be back. I am happy with the results, not just because of the chicken tender sub bet, though I am 2-0, and hopefully, depending on this game right now, the Knicks are down 14-13. So it's not that, we'll see what ends up happening. But I am just happy to see them win the games that we should be winning. Omar said this a few weeks back, and I will repeat to say it as well. Get fat where you can. And right now, we have a schedule in the upcoming week, which we'll get into in just a sec, of us getting those layup games, getting those games that you should just finish out strong. And this is the games that you test your mettle and you see who you got on your team. Maybe give those guys the minutes that I've been asking for, but we'll cover that in just a sec. At the time of this recording right now, we are covering the Knicks and Warriors game. It's going on right now, actually. So right now, we're gonna post something as far as the game goes.
2 hours later.
It's your boy O here updating you guys. New York Knicks lose 97-94 to the Golden State Warriors, marking it a 2-3 5-game West Coast trip for the New York Knicks, but making it a perfect 2-1 prediction week for your boy Dave. It's looking slow for me, but hey, what can we do? Update the standings, Dave. He's got a big lead on this 10 to sub, but it is what it is. Knicks lose 97-94 to Golden State Warriors. Back to the show. Wait, hold on, Dave. One last thing. I hate you, Draymond Green. All right, y'all. So you already know upcoming Knick games we got. We got 4 games this week, brother. 4 games this week. So this is where I'm gonna be able to get back in the standings. All right, so let's get into it. Dave, pop the upcoming games graphic up right now. All right, so we got the Knicks. As I said, we got a 4-game slated for first being Monday, March 17th at 7:30, as the Knicks head back to the Garden from their road trip to go against the hated Miami Heat. I believe this is the last meeting between us in the Heat this year. So let's go for a clean sweep. We've already took 2 in MSG South. So why not get it a clean sweep? Followed by Wednesday, March 19th, 8 p.m., as the Knicks are going against the Spurs. No Wemby and no other guys we're going to touch on in quick hits. Followed by a back-to-back Thursday. Then they have to travel to Charlotte as they face LaMelo Ball and them boys. And then we round up the week Saturday, March 22nd at 8 p.m. Start at the Garden. That's a very strange start time, but 8 p.m. start time Saturday against the Washington Wizards. Brother, you're up. So you go first. How are the Knicks looking this week? What's your predictions?
Am I a madman? Am I a madman if I say we go 4-0?
Brother, I'm thinking 4-0 too.
I'm thinking 4-0, and I'm telling you, the Heat, that team is not the same anymore. They're just
No.
not. So I got us winning that game. And then we're playing the Spurs. They're hobbled, and I'm sorry, with everything going on. So, but I'm gonna take us taking that game as well. The next game is the Hornets, and oh my God, LaMelo Ball is a great talent, but that team is just like, why is it that you always end up in that area? Like, you're always at the bottom of everything. Like, every year in and year out. Have the Hornets, when was the last time the Hornets have been in contention? The Knicks get a lot of trash, but we
Man,
we turned it
I
around.
think the Kemba years. I know they made the play-in a couple years ago, but they lost. But it's really they haven't been in the
Kemba's no longer
playoffs
in the
since
league,
Kemba.
so that'll tell you.
Kemba, an assistant coach for them. That'll tell you how long it's been.
Right. He's no longer in the league, so that'll tell you how long it's been. Um, so I got us winning that game against the Hornets, and then against the Wizards, I got us winning that game as well. The Wizards, there,
Yeah, the
me,
Wizards.
and my brother-in-law had a really good conversation later, a few weeks ago, and it was just that they're a bunch of role players. The Wizards are a bunch of role players, and I don't see us losing that one either. So
Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong.
they're on full
I
tank.
preface
They're on
with
full
that.
tank
I
mode.
maybe, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Anybody can win any game, but I got us winning 4-0 this week.
Yeah, this one was a little easy for me. This one was easy. I was going 4-0. I guess if we, get it, we'll get it right. I break even. I don't, I gain no status. But as I touched on, I would much rather be. I'd rather have Mick wins. I don't care if that costs me a double bacon chicken tender sub. Then it is what it is. But I'm going 4-0. The Heat. They're not good. That's as simple as that. They're in purgatory right now. They got an interesting offseason because I just don't think they're good enough. So I think we should win that. We'll be back home. That's Monday. So the Knicks, I know it's a long flight from San Francisco, Saturday to Monday, but I think we should be good. Wednesday, the Spurs on Operation Tank with their guys going down. So I think we get that win. I do think the Charlotte game is going to be closer than we think. For some reason, I don't know. We just have a hard time, with Charlotte. I know the last time we played Charlotte, I believe I was in your house, brother. I think it was Black Friday, and that was a brutal game that we won like in the closing seconds. And then we got 2 days. Then Saturday, you got the Wizards at the crib, back at the Garden, bro. That's I don't even got to get in the conversation with that. Like you said, they're just not a good team. They got a couple veterans. They got Middleton, and did they get Marcus Smart? I think they got Marcus Smart.
I can double check that.
Um, yeah. But they got a couple veterans, and so Knicks 4-0 week, man. I'm happy. Uh so
Yeah,
we
they
should
did.
have a good week. The Knicks got a couple after this Warriors game. They have a lot of games coming up against some teams that's under 500. So you got to get fat, especially with Brunson out. I don't care how we get it. I don't care about that narrative of us not beating elite teams, whatever. Let's get fat. Let's hold our own and until the captain comes back. But guys, before we get into our favorite segment of quick hits, I forgot last week I was gonna mention it. Big shout outs. A big shout out to them boys from St. John's. So college basketball, man, really ain't been a thing in New York City for a very long time. I can't even recall the last time St. John's had so much buzz. I want to say maybe when Ron Artest was there. But shout out to St. John's, man. They are running the Big East. They got the Garden in a sea of red. Shout outs to them boys from St. John's, man. I'm pulling for y'all until y'all go against my Duke Blue Devils. But shout out to St. John's, man. They got New York rocking, brother. They got New York City rocking, and it's good to have college basketball rocking in New York City. But guys, let's get into our favorite segment. You already know what that is. Quick hits. All right, y'all. So you know the vibes on quick hits, guys. This is where we cover everything around the globe. The hits are so quick, you don't see it coming. Brother, NFL free agent is off to a hot start as a series of big stars headline the busy week of moves, starting with DK Metcalf going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp signing with the Seattle Seahawks, Joey Bosa heading to the Bills, and Devontae Adams joining the Rams. Brother, what offseason move will have the biggest impact on this upcoming NFL season?
At the moment of this, us reporting this, of us covering this, I'm gonna say that the biggest move has been the Seahawks. You just got Cooper Kupp. You just got Sam Darnold. And don't get me wrong, Sam Darnold is now a year removed from playing almost MVP caliber last year with the Vikings. I think that the Seahawks are they're in rebuild mode. They have Jackson Smith and Jigba. They got rid of DK Metcalf, so things are definitely going into a different direction there. And as of this time, right now, and things change with the NFL very quick. As of right now, I say that the biggest move has been the Seahawks and what they're doing over there. If the What I'm interested with the DK Metcalf going to Pittsburgh is, do they keep Russell Wilson now? That is where I'm just like,
Oh,
that
you're hearing the news that maybe Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers may be the guy. Russell Wilson has had conversations with the Browns and with the Giants, I believe. Either he was meeting with them on Friday, but no, you're right. Honestly, I gotta swear on the opposite end, bro. I like what the Rams did. You got Devontae Adams. I know Cooper Cup was big for them, but I do believe, and it's funny how he was on Fox top 10 biggest New York guy gets released, signed with the Rams. I think he's gonna be able. Him and Puka Nakua are gonna be really good. They still have Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams, did I get that correct? Kyron
yep,
Williams.
yep, yep.
Their defense is top notch.
And they kept
You
Stafford.
know, yeah, and they kept Stafford, and they were the team that really gave the Eagles a tough time in their whole playoffs. One bounce there, one bounce there. They beat the Eagles. I like what they did. I like what they did. But I definitely think that them in Seattle is the favorites in the West. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
And
ahead.
one last thing, there is a New York team that we don't cover as much, but it's the Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo
The
Bills, Bills Mafia, baby.
Bills Mafia, whatever. Um, so the Bills end up picking up Joey Bosa, right? Like you mentioned, and I think that is huge. You just lost Von Miller, I believe he's no longer with them, and you replace him with Joey Bosa, like
Yeah, big.
that to me is really really big over there. And they
That's
kept,
big. And they
they
they re-signed Allen. They locked down Allen. It was big, big NFL, man.
and he
It's so
and
much to cover.
he vouched for not getting that money that made him the highest player. So he was just like, what is 5 million gonna make a difference to me? I still, what was it he said? I have the house, I have the stuff. He has the wife or soon to be. So like I said, what more reasons do I need to hate Josh Allen? So
And she's
um
tapped the Bill Mafia. You heard what she said
I
about the other
heard,
teams in the division?
I heard,
I
I
would
heard.
have Dave play the clip, but he's not gonna do it.
I'm not gonna do that. Just stick to making, be the next Hawkeye movie.
Yeah,
Anyways, but yeah, Joey Bosa going over to the Bills is something to watch out for. I think right now that makes them still the favorites to come out of the East this year. But my boys are making some moves. Let's just see what we get as a wide receiver
yeah.
because
I think you
Matt
guys gonna be
Collins is
good.
in it. Yeah. Um, or who knows? Maybe I'm cheering for Matt Collins by week 6. Um, all right, brother. So next we have. Speaking of the NFL free agency, former Cowboy, now Seattle Seahawks, DeMarcus Lawrence, went through a little Twitter exchange with former teammate Micah Parsons due to Lawrence's comment saying that Dallas is home, but he's not sure that he can win a Super Bowl there. Is that a right take by Lawrence?
Yeah. I don't think Dallas is winning the Super Bowl anytime soon. And it's funny because Micah Parsons responds to that, and he basically calls him a clown, and so it. But he's right. He's right. It's funny, and I forgot to mention on This Week in Knicks. Jim Dolan was on the Roommates podcast with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart this week, and they asked him about what was the biggest thing he learned, and he said, "I learned as an owner that I don't know the game as much as my GMs and coaches." And they both laughed because they said, "Wow, look at the Dallas Cowboys." Let's just put it at that. And as long as Jerry Jones is still running the show, they won't be
No,
Super Bowl contenders.
no.
So,
You could be at
yes,
the
that
top of
was a
Forbes
good take.
list.
Yes,
You
that
could
was a
be,
good
yeah.
take. You mentioned that you liked the moves that Seattle did. And I tell you this, Seattle has a better opportunity to make the Super Bowl than the Dallas Cowboys does. So, yes, I agree with the take. All
No,
right.
I
So,
agree.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, no. I'm tired of Micah Parsons. I really am. Like
Yeah,
I will completely say
he's
this.
becoming Draymond Green. He's really becoming Draymond Green.
And
Where
mind you,
it's
he's
like at
better.
first,
He's better
and he's
talent. He
better.
just
Yeah,
talks
yeah,
too
he's
much.
yeah. I mean, in the sense of the
What he
take
brings to his
and
game.
what he's
Yeah.
saying, not players. Yes, Michael Parsons is a Hall of Fame player. Michael Parsons is that guy. Michael Parsons is not like, Michael Parsons is playing with him, and so that's how he looks good. No, Michael Parsons is that guy. I meant it in the sense of like horrible takes for clicks. Um, but speaking of clicks, this guy gets a lot of it. As ESPN Shams reported this week that the San Antonio Spurs point guard star, which they traded for, De'Aaron Fox will undergo season-ending surgery on Tuesday for tendon damage on his left pinky. Brother, how are we feeling about this?
So I'm a person who usually lets things go, bro, and this is why I bring this up.
Mm.
De'Aaron Fox had a little thing about us, the Knicks, because we could have drafted him, and he made fun of us ever since. He's always, I forgot what the exact quote is off the top of my head, but I remember him saying something about the Knicks and how like we're a failure. So a part of me is just like, damn, like, look at that. But I do, hopefully you get better. I would like to see what Wemby with a star point guard looks like. So we'll see what you come out to be next year, but it sucks that it happens like that. We see a lot of trades that are not working for teams as their players are getting injured right away. Dallas Mavericks. Um,
Yeah, I will say this to be fair, like you said, De'Aaron Fox, and it's funny since like he made those stupid comments, we've been smoking him every time we played against him. But to be fair, I know he's been dealing with this issue even before the season, and he was dealing with it even in Sacramento. I think that's why his shooting percentage has been lower than normally. But honestly, it's the right move. You know what I mean? Once you lost Wemby, you kind of already saw like, okay, we're not going to be able to make the plan or make any big move. So why continue to play through that pain? Just reset and, position yourself to get another decent pick, and get it started next year.
yeah. Speaking of resets, so keeping in the NBA as well, ESPN's Sick McMahon reports that several teams are expected to make a run after Zion Williamson this summer. Would you trade for Zion?
Hell yeah, I would. But it depends on the package. Pause. Yeah, of course. I would trade for Zion Williamson. Now, like I said, it depends on what I got to give up. If if the Pelicans is on that time, on that energy where they feel like, oh, we want 4 picks, 3 first-round picks, this and this and that. No, I'm not doing it. Now, if you're willing to part with some protected picks, then I'll consider. But because I do think Zion's got the talent. He's got the talent. We had an interesting conversation in the group chat, bro, about who's a bust, who's considered a bust, and I think Zion is slowly heading towards that direction. I wouldn't say he's fully there, because the talent is there, and how I categorize bust is when guys had hype and come into the league and it doesn't translate. We've seen Zion dominate. It's just his eating habits and his injuries has really held him back. But like I said, for the right deal, for the right, hey, couple unprotected picks, blah blah blah, a little role play, little role play you willing to part ways with. If I'm an NBA executive, I'm making a trade for Zion for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Zion was supposed to be the face of this league. We all know that when he was coming out of that draft. It ended up turning that Ja Morant was the star of everything. But Zion was supposed to change the face of this league. He was supposed to be the new LeBron. At least that's what he was hyped up to be. Um, would I trade for him? I'm in the same camp as you. As long as I'm not giving up, my star players, or I'm not giving up picks that like my first rounders and stuff like that, then yeah, why not? Like, what do I have to lose? Like, I'm getting Zion for nothing. But let's see if that's what the
Right.
Pelicans want.
Yeah, I'm not going to give up a lot when you're not in a position where of strength,
Right.
and I don't think the Pelicans are in that right now.
Yeah.
So let's move on to a little bit of baseball. The Tampa Bay Rays principal owner Stuart Steinberg announced that the Rays will not be moving forward with the development plans for a new stadium in St. Petersburg. The organization is focused on getting the Tropicana Field ready for play in 2026, which was damaged by the Hurricanes, and the Tampa's actually going to be playing at the Yankees spring training stadium this season. Brother, is this the right move for the Rays franchise?
No, Tropicana is a dump. It is quite literally a dump. And the only thing I've ever heard about Tropicana Field is the food. The food is good there. That's all I've ever heard about that field. So, and you've been one of them who's been there and said that the food is actually good compared to everything else.
Yeah,
So
they
I
got a
don't
good
know.
patty melt or whatever you call that, burger melt,
Yeah.
patty melt. Yeah, that's really good there.
But I don't know. And then like as we are about to cover in the next segment, or the next topic, there has been a request for Orlando to get a team. And this is where I would feel like, you know what, Tampa Bay is not taking care. Like that team is just not like Orlando has been begging for a baseball team. And I think that if you were not to stay in Tampa Bay, I would like you to relocate to Orlando, but maybe we get an expansion team there.
Yeah.
This is not the right move, Ols, and I don't know. What are your takes on this before we move on?
Yeah, no, I agree. So for those that may not know, the Tampa Bay Rays don't play in Tampa Bay. They do play in St. Petersburg, where they are. This is why they struggle with attendance. They're about 25 minutes from Tampa, and everything around there. It's not like Yankee Stadium. You don't have a Billy's. You don't have a bunch of bars where you can pregame, and there's none of that stuff going on where the Tampa Bay Rays play. It's literally just surrounded by houses. So there's nothing really to entertain you before going to the game. There's really no attraction. As Dave touched on, I'm gonna be honest. I've gone to Tropicana Field, and I've also looked at people's stadium ranking videos, and they've always ranked Tampa Bay at the bottom. Along, and I couldn't agree more. It's not a it's especially the way these stadiums are built now. It's a total dump. But Dave's gonna get to the next point. I'm gonna add more, but Dave, let's get to the next question.
Yeah. So a group called Music City Baseball is working to bring an MLB franchise to Nashville. The team now would be the Nashville Stars, and this week the potential MLB expansion team revealed a new logo and cap. What are your thoughts on the Nashville team, and do we like this logo and fitted?
I actually like the hat. The it kind of looks like the Nas, like Nas, the rapper Nas is the way they write his name. I like it. It's a fire fitted. Uh, but it's so funny because that news of the Tampa Bay, in their stadium, I believe was the same day that. First of all, I've never seen this ever. How do you have a fitting in a logo for a team that doesn't exist? Hasn't been mentioned, no meetings of it, nothing. So this just tells me, homeboy this is going to be the Tampa Bay Rays. I don't think this is going to be an expansion team. This is going to be a relocation. That's what this is going to be. This is going to be another Montreal Expos to becoming the Washington Nationals kind of situation. Obviously, that sucks because Orlando has been crying for a team. Orlando deserves a baseball team. Orlando's a phenomenal city, and they show love to their teams. You can just ask Orlando Magic outside when the New York Knicks get there. But but I also acknowledge, brother, that Nashville is I don't want to say upcoming, but Nashville's become a trend as far as people wanting to go, people wanting to, party town. It's a new party town now. They have their new stadium that the Tennessee Titans, I believe, are going to be playing in this upcoming season or next season. I'm not sure, but they're getting a new stadium. So Nashville's the new thing. Nashville's the new girl in school. And this is what Tampa's doing. You're not fooling the ozone.
And just something to bring up. So I did post a logo, and it's probably still up right now. This logo may look familiar to some of you, and what I found out during my research is that this isn't. They have ties as far as the logo of the team with the Negro League, so they are working hand in hand with them, and they are trying to make sure that they have the rights to do this, and of course the money goes there and it's shared. So it's not just like this team is being created out of thin air. There are some ties to the Negro League, baseball league, and they definitely want to bring that back. So if they do an expansion team, then that's what we're getting. But I wouldn't be surprised if what we're hearing from Omar and the speculation there that the Tampa Bay will end up just moving, like the Colts ended up moving to Baltimore overnight or something. Like I would not be surprised if this is where they end up going. So we'll see how everything plays out. I'm for an expansion if baseball does that. It definitely would be interesting. I just keep Orlando in mind, please. Just
Yeah. Just reporting a little update from Shams while we're recording. He reported that Jalen Brunson's expected to be out through late March, early April. So I don't think that's anything new. I don't think he was going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. So I don't think that's anything new. That seems to fall within the timeline. Honestly, get well, Brunson. We'll hold it down. As long as we got him by the playoffs, I'm perfectly fine with everything. But guys, we're about to wrap up this episode. And we cannot wrap up an episode without sharing you guys the highlight of the week.
He's on fire!
All right, y'all. The highlight of the week. I'm not being biased. I promise. I'm not being biased. I couldn't find a play better than our very own Mikal Bridges, baby. After the news of him talking about he need a break, Tom, you're working me too much, blah, blah, blah. He goes on and hits a game-winning buzzer-beater 3 in overtime for a 114-113 Knicks victory against the Portland Trailblazers, brother. There was just no other better play of the week.
No, there wasn't. I was considering the Mitchell Robinson block and that overtime as well. That's one of those things that did help us in the waning minutes of that. But once you seal the win, like there's nothing beating that. And I don't think sports was that exciting this week where we can find something more better than that. So this why fight it? Mikal Bridges with the 3. Watch it again.
Yeah, man, Mikal, we want to see more of this, especially while JB is out. But guys, we thank you guys so much for showing us love, for tapping in on our new time, our new start time. Guys, let us know. What do you think? Well, you think this is the right move for us? Starting at 5 p.m., being able to get through your work day so you can tap in with your boys after. Let us know in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about Gerrit Cole's injury. Big one. Met fans, who you want starting at second base? You want Beatty? You want Acuna? And guys, we know Quick Take is a big conversation, opens up the floor for conversation. You let us know what's your quick takes. All right? So, guys, we're almost there. I believe we're at 96 subscribers. Get us to a hundo. Get us to a hundo. You know a friend, so tell that friend to tell their friend to tap in with your boys from the Ozone. Remember,
Hey guys, so David here from the Ozone. I just want to give you, every one of you, a quick shout out because thank you. Look below. We just hit 100 subscribers and we wouldn't have done it without any of you. Me and Omar are ecstatic and we are really happy that you guys are connecting with us. You guys are enjoying the content. You guys are sharing it and you continue to tap in with the Ozone. So please, stick around, share this with a friend. Let's get to 200. Let's keep going. But we do want to appreciate this milestone. This is huge for us. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. And remember, tap in with the Ozone.
we are available on all social media platforms, Threads, Twitter, IG, and where this episode is being watched on YouTube. So, guys, show us some love. Like, repost, comment, share, do everything, man. Subscribe, hit the thumbs, man. That's how you help us out. That's how you help us out. And if you like Dave's t-shirt, continue to support us, and we'll make those available for you guys. So, guys, it's been a wonderful week. You know we're going to be bringing that fire next Monday, new start time, 5 p.m. It's been a pleasure. Peace.
This is more than a podcast. It's a sports throne. Let's kick it off right. Welcome to the Ozone.
Hold on. Let me get rid of this Met now, so then this is not in my way. Yeah.
You guys heard it
Fuck.
first.
What did I do?
Get rid of that
Give. Yo, that might be a funny blooper at the end. Just blur it out. Let me get this rid of this. Beep. Get rid of this. Oh,
You thought I was the Mets hater.
oh my god.